Hey, everybody. Welcome to the Rise Up Market Watch. I am solo tonight. Mr. Will Watson is traveling, so I'll do my best to fill his shoes, which is not an easy task. I don't have the sound effect. I don't have any sounds. It's just going to hear my voice. So hopefully that's good enough for this group. It is Monday. It is Martin Luther King Day. Shout out Dr. King. And we have a very, very interesting time. Markets are extremely volatile. A lot of things going on. So what we're going to do is we're just going to dive into the charts head first, and I will get through the big markets. We'll do stock indexes, go to commodities, and then we're going to crypto. And I'll take a bunch of crypto requests towards the end and just knock them out as fast as possible because we like charts. So let's do that. All right. So let me share my screen here. How's everyone doing? We good? We good. All right. Hopefully this works. Let's see here. Let's see. All right. Actually, I have no idea if this is even working or not. All right, cool, Jeff. How's it going, dude? How are you? Nice to see you. All right, there we go. My usually I'm on TikTok too right now, but for some reason I'm locked out of my phone or the TikTok account, and it's very frustrating. So I apologize for those who can't hear me say this, that we're not on TikTok at the moment. So it is what it is. All right. So yesterday, you know what? I lied. We're gonna start with crypto because crypto was the first move. So we are still grinding up in this, I'm gonna call it rising wedge, this channel. Bitcoin has been, and crypto as a whole has been in a okay spot as of late, until last night. Was it last night? It was last night, right? Where we did have, and this is through multiple, instances of what that catalyst was, gave reason for Bitcoin to break down below 94K. 94 has been a very significant level for Bitcoin, specifically because ever since before Thanksgiving, Bitcoin has traded below this $94,000 level, and every single time that we've moved up has been a rejection. I'm going to use emojis here tonight because it's going to make it easier for me, right? We got the rejection here, the rejection here, the rejection here, right? And then until last Monday, we got a nice move up above that 94,000. So this is the first time since November. Well, in theory, we are trading above 94,000. So everyone's super bullish, right? Timeline is super bullish across across crypto Twitter. It's actually been kind of nice. Things are getting a little bit more, there's less I'll say less hate. There's less just being miserable, just calling each other out. There's been some good vibes as of late, especially with, NFT talk, and just there's seen a lot more art, listen to more music. It's almost like we're kind of at the bottom of where I would say it can't really get worse. I mean, price could always go down, and it definitely will go down further. But it's just a good spot. So it's just interesting to me, and it's probably the most enjoyable time too. Just quick aside, that I've been in crypto for now 6 years. This has been the last probably 2 months have been the most enjoyable because I've met so many new people. That hasn't happened until kind of, back in 2021 was my first experience in crypto. So yeah, I'm hoping for the good vibes to come back, right? Because everything else sucks. So I'm like, hey, might as well make a new friend, right? Can't hurt. All right, back to Bitcoin. So I'll stop yapping. So right now, that move up was, I'm gonna call it a fake out, but it didn't, it was a deviation. This went up and it fell right back down. Right. So we see the retest. When I say retest, when price gets above into this new level here, making fresh highs, the idea is to determine, as you, someone possibly being an investor, or however it may be, that you're entertaining, determining if price is accepted above that level, meaning that are there buyers willing to buy Bitcoin above 94K? And until yesterday, the answer was yes. But now we've broken back down. We are kind of in this dangerous spot. I don't call it dangerous spot, but we very much want to get back above 94K as soon as possible. As of right now, we're on the daily chart, and we just had the daily close an hour ago. It's not looking great. I'm not shocked. I mean, this is something was going to give it that move. So as of right now, I wouldn't be surprised if we see, move down to the low 80s. And I think tonight on this show, I'm going to go through these charts a little slower earlier on, just because that does set the tone for a lot of these other markets. I say that, then as I'm looking up here to the futures markets, they're kind of moving, and I want to jump and move along. So changing my mind midstream here. Here we go. Okay, so Bitcoin, where it is right now, I would not be shocked if we see the low 80s at some point in the next couple of days. Like I'm this low, which was down from November, right before Thanksgiving. I would be shocked if we don't revisit that. This was too easy. When I say it's too easy, as if, hey, you're someone who had orders set and you're waiting for Bitcoin to come down to this level and you got in. You've been sitting pretty since before Thanksgiving. And as a market maker, the person on the other side of the trade, I would want to move price. I'm not a market maker. I would want to move price down to challenge the lows that are here. So the folks who have a stop loss here are feeling good. It just seems too easy. And there's still part of this candle to fill. So I would not be shocked at some point that we revisit low 80s and mid 70s. This is something Will and I have been talking about for a while. But we had to put that aside because the last, January so far has been bullish. And this was the first time that inflection kind of changed. And although we haven't completely broken market structure yet overall, like this still could form into a higher high, a higher low. So here's our low here. Here's a higher low. And, start trading back above and make a move back up to 100. I don't think we're going higher than 100. I think that's also the area where there will be extreme bullishness because that psychological number being 100,000 on the timeline and on everywhere you talk and everywhere you go. And that time, for me, is when it's supposed to be the most cautious. Like, absolutely need to be the most cautious of when we approach those levels, specifically because that's where we kind of broke down much further back in early November, late October. And I'm seeing markets move here. All right, I got to move faster because I want to make sure we're catching all these things. So Bitcoin, suspect for the moment, not horrible, but I would be shocked if we don't see a bigger move down in the short term. Let me zoom in here now. Let's see this here. Like this looks gross, if I'm being honest. Right now, maybe high 80s, maybe something like this where we get a bounce. But an instant reversal of this would be tough. So be cautious right now. This is not an indication for you to sell or to short. I'm just trying to give you guidance on where kind of I feel the market's going based on everything else that I'm looking at. So that is what we are here to do. All right, let's now jump over to only seeing you on YouTube and LinkedIn. No TikTok. Yeah, my phone is locked out of TikTok right now. When I went in to just start the stream a minute ago, I was trying to change some settings and I don't know what it was, but it kicked me. I went back in, didn't like that. So I apologize again to the folks that are on TikTok who can't hear me, who are not seeing this, because that's usually the go-to. Maybe if I'm feeling lucky in a minute, I'll try it midstream here to jump back on, but I don't think I'm going to get that. All right. So S&P 500 stocks also until recently, and this was the Friday. That's right. We broke down on Friday. Feels like it was so long ago. Stocks have been insanely bullish. I mean, they've been so strong. It's like they're resilient. Nothing's going to stop it, right? But this is the first time that we've kind of seen like something that's abnormal, let's call it, where it's not our nice clean up and down, up and down. This is a break. And I'm not surprised. I guess it just needed that spark. And that is, from the, won't go too far down this path, but the threat of the additional tariffs, trade uncertainty related to Greenland, the EU, it's UK. I don't know, right? It's also one of those things where it's like, hey, we've seen this happen before, and threats of these types of, actions, and then all of a sudden it's like, oh, maybe never mind, I was just kidding, and then all of a sudden markets send back up. So we're kind of already seeing hints of the extreme volatility that was in 2025. But so I'm not going to be surprised by anything, which is why right now, for folks who are, actively, following markets, is we're really only looking as far ahead as we can see and have some clarity, which to me right now, especially after some period like this, is like the next couple of days, the next week or two. I'm not looking for, hey, what do I think the price is going to be at the end of the year? Or at the end of this month. Actually, the end of the month is not, we're close. But just trying to give that perspective so you're not making any significant decisions that come at a time when there is a risk of, a correction. I'm say a correction. correction. Why not put it out there? You know why? Because I was just looking at this weekly chart before. I have to call this out. I have to call this out. So this is, let me do the 3-day here of, close this for the moment. This is, where was I seeing this divergence that I wanted to call out? Yes. Was it a weekly or the monthly div? Sorry, I'm talking to myself here, trying to remember where I had seen this. Wow, I may be making this up. It was, no, here it is. I got it. I'm not crazy. Don't worry. All right. So, and I'm not one for divergences to say that they are absolute, because in many times, like I was taught, or at least how I followed it, was that you assume that divergences don't play out. And like, Doug, what is divergence? A divergence is where you have price moving in the opposite direction of your underlying strength. So in this case, price is moving up here. So look at this period from, let's say, October, it's moving up, while this down here, this is RSI, my relative strength index is going down. So in this case, this is a bearish divergence. Now, these divergences at this time frame, at a weekly time frame, can take a while to play out, or could be imminent, right? That's the challenge when you look at the higher time frames, because it's almost like you're telling yourself a story of something that's going to happen, or you think's going to happen, and you're almost like waiting, but you're missing underlying moves. So I'm not going to stay on this too long, but I do got to call it out just because it is there, right? That this same div is here. This is back in February last year. It's right around when we had actually, wow, it's almost a year ago. This was right before Liberation Day, or this is when the tariffs were announced the first time, I believe. Don't quote me on that. And then we had this beautiful, what's this here? 20% sell-off. Now, I'm not saying by comparing this that like price is going to drop 20%. It could. And I mean, it looks pretty clean. Like, this is kind of getting a little heavy, if I'm being honest. At some point, we're going to have to do a correction. Even if there's one more move up here above 7,000 and touch all-time highs. Like it just can't keep grinding. And like, I don't know. So we got to be cautious here. A lot of red flags coming up. That's all I got to say about that. So that's S&P 500. So we're going to now go to NASDAQ. NASDAQ to me is much clearer. So NASDAQ, I also don't like using the dark background. I'm doing it because I've heard complaints and folks saying, Doug, please don't use the bright background at night, because we're all tired of looking at screens all day and we don't want to look at more screens. So can you make it dim? I listened, but it's harder for me to draw. I can't see as well on the dark. I need the light. But we're going with it tonight. So this is the NASDAQ. NASDAQ to me is super simple, because ever since here, I'm going to call it like 27, 20, let's see, 25, 25, let's make it 25, 750. All right. Ever since, this is the 1st of November, first week in November, we've been trading below 25,750. And it's been just like kind of a line in the sand. Like it's been straight up, and I'll pull up my emojis here again. Like every single time price revisits, it's just a rejection. Can't break above. Even now, recently a little move here, earlier last week, but I was actually shocked here, because I thought at this point we would make at least a fake out up here and then a breakdown to at least catch a bunch of longs here. But I think the market wasn't expecting what did come with that announcement, or the headline news, headline tweet. I can't call it news. I guess it is news. That kind of interrupted where it was going to go, because that was, I believe, going to move up, and eventually it will come back up and test these highs, or at least challenge them. But for the moment, we have a breakdown, and we have to treat it as such. So the next level of support on the NASDAQ is, by the way, it's very weird not having TikTok open in front of me, because TikTok is usually where I'm seeing tickers. By the way, if anyone wants to look at tickers, crypto specifically, just throw them in the chat here, wherever you are, and I will look at them once we're done covering these high markets. Although they're all going to look kind of not great, I'll look at them. Okay, so right now, next level of support is 25,100, and let's call it 25,000. This is where I would expect a bounce, right? We should see that. We already kind of seeing that right here on the 8-hour chart. We do not want to be trading below 24.8. Down here is where I think we start seeing, and actually now I think about it, I kind of want to go back and study the sell-off last here because I remember this. We need to look at this tomorrow because if the higher level market structure kind of looks the same. I'm sorry I'm talking out loud right now, but I need to think about this. Let me hide this for the moment. No, they're a little off because this one did have a, do you see how here before the sell-off, and I'm jumping back here, this NASDAQ, this move up, this was early last year. So from January to February 17th, we tapped into all-time highs that were made in December. Up here, where I just drew everything, and you can't see it now. Look at that. Come on, Doug. Come on, dude. Hide. Right here is that didn't happen, right? So here are your current highs. Usually would expect something like this and then it to come down, right? Because anyone who caught it on the other end, I was giving the example before about being long and catching a long. These individuals caught a short and have not been challenged. I still believe those highs will be challenged before we make a move down. So now I'm kind of talking myself out of a breakdown right now, but we got to be aware of it without a doubt. So what's up, Sivish? How's it going, man? Yeah. All right. So what was I saying about NASDAQ? Let's need to get back above 2,500. Don't want to trade below 24,800. That's it. 24,800, 25,600. We got it. All right. Dow Jones, don't care about it. Doesn't give me much guidance because it's just 30 stocks. All right. The dollar. The dollar has been showing some weakness. This is in a really, really interesting spot. The next couple of weeks are going to be even, I don't know, markets are going to get crazy. There's just a lot of, the reason I like charting, by the way, is I love patterns. I love data, patterns. And the pattern recognition of a market, like in general, like a single chart is one thing, but starting to recognize patterns of other markets and how they relate to each other. Like you can't see it above me. Actually, can I bring it down? Let me do this. Let's do this. Above me, I can't actually. I take that back. Above me is I have 10 charts. They're 10 smaller charts. And it just kind of gives you a view across your equities, crypto, gold, silver, which we have to talk about in a minute because they're absolutely bullish. I have the US Treasury 10 yield, and I have the dollar. And I switch them up once in a while, throw an oil there, another commodity. But seeing how they move relative to each other is super interesting. And you could get a gauge for how things are going to move by two markets moving this way and there are two markets going the other way. However, you know when something's off when they're not doing what they're supposed to do. And that's for me is when it's kind of exciting. It's like, oh, then it kind of narrows it down to say, hey, Doug, this is the time to focus. And you can get a good feel for where something's going to go just because the tone is set, right? Where it's like every day looking at charts is every day looking at charts. However, when there's a kind of, it's really volatility. I'm describing volatility. That's what I'm describing. When there is volatility, it's a time to kind of focus on markets. And that's where we are right now. So, okay. So I'm going to dive back in here. All right. This is the dollar. The dollar at the moment is not as bullish as it was before. Like I'm still of the thought, and I really, really zoom out here, that the dollar is going to make a big move up like this. At least to start to like 103, 104 here, and then I'll make a decision. But the longer it hangs down here, I'm kind of maybe changing my mind. Because this is, you know what? I take that back. You are still making a higher a higher low here. When this gets bullish, usually, now there's another variable here, right? There's an element of the global financial, variable, which is much more relevant now than it has been in the past because of other dynamics playing into the dollar. But with that said, this is when the real, bear market came for crypto, is when the dollar started moving, and also to risk on assets in general. So you could say, hey, if there's more liquidity from the dollar standpoint of people moving out of risk on assets, so that is your stocks, that's crypto, whatever it may be, this ends up usually being stronger. And it just, to me, the stars are aligning for that to be part of the equation. Now, it's not as relevant. Try the best way to explain this, because it's one of those metrics or one of those baselines that when it is aligned, it is aligned. But when it's not, it's not. So it's kind of in that spot right now where, you know what, I just thought I'm moving on because I don't want to talk about the dollar anymore. We got to move on. VIX. We'll touch back on the dollar, where I was going with that, because I want to make a point, but I don't want to go to the other chart yet. VIX is starting to get bullish. That's obvious. Okay. Gold and silver. I have nothing to say besides every single time I look at the chart, I'm just like, wow, I wish I had been paying attention to this years ago, because this chart looks really nice. The crypto charts that we look at all the time look absolutely horrible and have looked horrible for a really long time. So study the markets that have been around, because this is just, it's so much more enjoyable. And like, I wish I was actively participating in these markets, but I'm not. I'm really just watching anything. I don't really trade anymore. But this is, look, it's just clean. It's just clean. Anyway, longer gold stays up here, above 4,600, above 4,700. I would expect new all-time highs. Like I did this go sideways right now. Continuation up higher. Keep sending it. We did have this dip. This dip got eaten up so fast the other day. I remember looking at it because we were drawing it. It looked like call my little house here, my little diamond pattern, that it was going to break down. This dip was instant here. That got bought up and made a pop. And this is right when crypto sold off. So there we go with gold, silver. Wow, look at this. For anyone new who's joining, I'm really good at discovering charts that I drew months ago, weeks ago, that were spot on and I forgot about, because it's very difficult for me to manage all of my trade ideas. Let's call a squiggle an idea in the application that is TradingView. Shout out TradingView. I'm not talking, Snap. It's just that it is it's hard for me with how I look at things to manage things in a linear type format, this watch list over here. And I like keeping my squiggles. And yeah, so anyway, this was spot on. This was silver at $77. We might have actually drawn this on the Rise Up Morning Show, but silver, stupid. Silver to me is more bullish than gold. I feel like everyone's waiting for a pullback, or they were at least in the 60s, 70s, and 60s was a really, a target spot when we were here. Did not happen. But now, like, I can't not be bullish above $90. Even 88. So we're just gonna watch for now. I do think dips are definitely for entertaining if we get it. But I mean significant dips. Like if there is a dip down to 80s, 70s, I think that's an opportunity to pay attention and get some silver, whether it be physical, actual silver, or ETFs. There's all kinds of products that are out there, but this looks like a very strong market. So anyway, let's now go to copper. Copper also super interesting to me right now. Copper is what I believe is a base metal. Don't quote me on that. And this is a super interesting chart to me because of this sell-off. This sell-off was in July. And if I can use replay mode here. If I go to here and pull back, this is now, we've kind of eliminated, let's call it, I don't know, 4 months of price action. If you showed me this chart any day of the week, like I would think it's going to do this. It just because of how strong of a sell-off this was. Well, did it do that? No, this thing just kept, let's go in here. Here we go. Let's go faster. Faster, faster. Just kept grinding up. Kept grinding up. And we were looking to long here. I think Will and I were talking about that a couple weeks back. But you're just so interesting to me because this is the first time for me in my charting, journey, which has been like, I think I'm crossing over 10,000 hours now. That's a number I'll throw out there. Not necessarily proud of that, but it's it's a skill you over time. It's something you have a hobby you get into, and I like looking at charts. Like I started the stream off. So anyway, I digress. I was making a point. Now it's gone. It's just gone. I'm shocked that where copper has made this move up. That's all I have to say. And so now I know the point. I have not observed commodities, other asset classes, like to this extent ever. Because when I first got into charting, it was because of crypto in 2019, 2020. So I was just looking at those charts and how those charts move and how those markets move. Now, most markets in general do have the same basic structures, patterns, all that good stuff, but there are behaviors and unique characteristics of the different asset classes that you don't see across the board. And so something like copper, being copper, this was just super interesting to me. And now I'm very curious to see where this goes, because I would imagine something like this. I think also dips on copper is an opportunity for something to consider. So anything down here in like a 5, 6, this is pounds, by the way. I know it's usually measured in tons. This is pounds. 5.6 to 5.2 or per pound, sorry. Dollars per pound. 5.6 to 5.2, I think, is a good entry on copper. But I also wouldn't be shocked either if this continues to trade higher and just continues to grind up like it has been for the last 5 months. All right, we're gonna start picking up the speed here. Nickel also one on my radar. I would love nickel to come back and give us some type of entry. This move up was, we're gonna need to pull back here. We're gonna pull back. I think nickel, we see nickel down here. If nickel starts trading below 16,800 here, and let's call it 15 to 15.5-ish, I think this is an opportunity to buy some nickel. That super easy. Oh, it'd be so clean. So we got alerts here. We're gonna keep that on the radar. But nickel. Oil still looking a little bullish. I don't care about oil that much right now. It's just not really helping me, giving me any guidance on anything else across markets here. What up, Magic Green? How we doing? How is it going? I like seeing the familiar names pop across chat, familiar faces, familiar PFPs. So oil has broken out of this downtrend since the first time since last summer. As you can see, try to break out my trusty hammer here. Every single time, hammer down. And this is the first time we broke out. So I was talking about this in the streams earlier. This is kind of the chart that I would like to long on like an altcoin. Like, love the breakout, love the strength. Retest right now. This would be a beautiful trade if it was crypto. But I would believe that oil is bullish as long as it's above, 57. Now, obviously, oil has a lot of fundamental factors that play into the price, which is why this also is not as attractive market to me to trade for someone who's new, because there's another added element of I'll call it complexity, but it's a variable you have to consider. So there's oil. Natural gas has been one I saw the other day. I think natural gas is a market that you could short, not financial advice at all. However, this level, which is 360, look at this chart. These charts are so nice. Back in 2021, this is where we took off. Came back down, made support. Let's put a brick here. There's a brick. And then this big sell-off in 2023. This also obviously is driven by demand and cycles. Where is my X here? Boom, there's my X. We're going to change the color because you can't see it on the dark background. I really regret using the dark background, by the way. Can't see things as clear. Sorry if it hurts your eyes. I'll do yellow. There we go. Yellow, breakdown. So now we're below that. Hammers. This is professional TA, by the way. For anyone new here, this is like expert level. And I'm being sarcastic, but I believe you don't have to have everything perfect for learning how to read markets, especially to start. So that's why I like using emojis to make it simple as possible for those to get some of the basic concepts, which really is just support, resistance, it's levels. It's levels and trend lines. That is everything. That is the everything of TA in the smallest amount of buckets possible. Okay, so we were October 20th. This level has been clearly a level that is important because anyone that bought here in 2021, feeling good, broke down here, now below here, and then they had an opportunity to get out, and this was the big hammer down. So we've basically been in a bear market, well, much further back, but this red area here, let's call this, I don't know, 2 years trading below 350. Then we got the move up here. This looks like this was a little deviation here. Okay, here we go. Let's make this green. Oops. Also, having no music in the background is very difficult for me. Need some just like the white noise. I got to work on my setup here. Got to be able to. Will, I miss you, dude. Miss you. Holding down the fort, keeping the flow. Keeping the flow. Will's traveling right now, but he'll be back, and we will go through this together. Like we always do on Monday nights. All right. So falling back below this level to me is pretty significant because it's the second time that we tried to stay above this 350. Here failed, here failed. So this being this level and right now this retest here where it's like, hey, did we really mean to break down? No, let's try to get back up. If it cannot get back above here, I think it goes down here below 284. And I need to put an asterisk here because I'm saying this without having any understanding of the demand of natural gas within inside the energy sector itself. I'm looking at this purely as a chart. You could tell me this was Cardano, and I'd draw the same thing. I don't know why I picked Cardano. I know what it was. I think because Alex, was it Alex? I think Alex had mentioned it, or was it Will? Had thrown a tweet up about Alex speaking in regards to XRP, I believe. I didn't see it yet, but it was a good shout out to Charles. So shout out to Charles at the ranch. All right, Cardano, but this is natural gas. So if I were a betting man, I believe we see this like that, something like that. But we'll check back and we will see later. Okay, let's move on to things that are more exciting. All right, it's crypto from here on out. I don't think I missed any other big markets here. VIX. Oh, I do want to look at the stable coin dominance on crypto. Yeah, I think we're good. I think we looked at everything. All right. This is Tether dominance, USDTD. Actually, wow, I'm realizing too, I wish I put this up here because I now realize folks don't know exactly what I'm looking at. We need some, there we go. There we go. Let's make this a little bigger. Can I make this bigger? No, huge. Cool, this works out. Vertical offset, 30. What does this do? I don't know. Okay, so this is the USTD dominance. This is the ratio of Tether to the entire crypto market. So the entire crypto market right now is what do we got here? 3.1 trillion. 6% of that 3.1 trillion is sitting in Tether at the moment. Tether is a stable coin. And right now, this is outside a very interesting spot. Remember before I was talking about a lot of markets misaligning, but they're kind of in a spot where they're ready to move. This is one of those as well. So for those who want, crypto to stay bullish or to be bullish, you want this to fall because as this percentage goes down, that means those dollars have to go somewhere and are likely going into your favorite shitcoin, altcoin, whatever. So you want this move to happen, which is possible. And also the other scenario where it goes up. Wow, Doug, you're so smart. You're saying markets can go up or down. Yes, they also can go sideways too. But kidding aside, I don't think this pulls back to 5%. I think we get maybe another small move here, but then we get this. And I think it's off to the races. Then I think that's where we see the last kind of, I don't say the last bit of pain for crypto, but see that lower move on Bitcoin that we were talking about before. That's going to go down to below 80 to start. And I think the sooner this year we get it over with, the better. And actually, the sooner it happens, but also too, stocks need a correction at the same time. If crypto corrects or pulls back and stocks do nothing again, we just quit. We just quit. They need to be in sync here. So, all right, let's go to ETH. We'll do the big markets, then we'll go to chat here for the requests. So we're looking at the what do we got here? This is the weekly chart on ETH, which at one point looked absolutely amazing. Up here, right here, big breakout, retested all-time highs from the prior bull run in 2021. Everyone thought we were going to stay up here and do this, and we were going to send to 5,000, 7,000. Well, nope, we broke down. So this is back in October. 10/10 was that day of that major liquidation cascade. And ever since, we've been struggling to figure out kind of where we go next. And it's a very similar picture to Bitcoin, right? That breakdown up here above, there's 4,000. This one's a pretty clear level. We've been in this, rising wedge, rising channel, whatever pattern that makes you feel good that I'm aligning to that graphic that I found that's on the Google search. If anyone's even using Google anymore, call it whatever you want. It is the interim step to continuation where price usually does that, right? So again, you call it a wedge, you can call it a channel, you can call it a pennant, you can call it a flat. I don't care what you call it. Just this, right? That we create this this lower high. So our high is up here. Here's our lower high. Now that lower high, the anticipation of that is what everyone has been focused on, including yours truly, is trying to figure out, well, what is that level, especially on all these markets, but primarily Bitcoin, ETH, and Solana. Like, what is this level where you see that move up? That's where it's like everyone's going to get super bullish, and then that's going to be the move before it goes down. Because it would make sense to have that trap. And if I was the market maker, if I was someone to say, hey, I can turn the dial to make it where I want to catch, I would do that exactly. I'd want to do that. Now, this breakdown, though, right now is giving pause to that. And at the moment, trying to gauge, is this the high? So it's early from this breakdown. And I'm realizing as we're going to look at alts in a minute, and I'll look at the ones in the chat. There's not going to be much difference from chart to chart, because they're just right now recovering or trying to figure out, hey, how do we deal with this breakdown, which could go sideways the rest of the week, right? We don't know. I mean, even here. So if I look at here on ETH, after this breakdown, which was 7%, we then went sideways for a week. Today, or this is Sunday, 6%, 5%. So what if we went sideways for a week? That puts us to Sunday. So right now, there's no rush until we get some clarity on where things go next. The only difference now with this one versus here is that I have to remind myself, as I'm talking out loud here, is that today was a holiday. Financial markets weren't open. Right now, we are looking at futures and where, it looks like they may be going, but we really don't know how markets are going to react to the new uncertainty that is within trade and tariffs. Crypto does not play nice if stocks are falling. They also don't like following stocks when stocks go up. They just keep going down. But if stocks go down, crypto will absolutely go down. So right now, crypto for the most part is waiting for clarity for that, which we will know basically 12 hours from now. Probably because there's also some economic data this week to be aware of. This is where I need Will. But right now I'm just doing chart guy things because that's all I got in my what's left in my head today after a long day of work. We're gonna have to wait for that 12 hours, 14 hours. It's gonna be an exciting week. Definitely one to pay attention to. Not one to try to build positions. I also want to emphasize that just before I forget. You do not need to try to catch the bottom of anything right now. Like, crypto's in a bear market. Like, we've been saying that. Until crypto becomes bullish again, your goal is to survive. Your goal is to survive. So right now, a very good thing is doing nothing, right? And wait until we get more clarity on what this next move is, because with the uncertainty in your the real markets, that is stocks, it's giving pullback is likely coming tomorrow. Now, also for those who weren't on the stream earlier on, with this type of event happening, or at least the indication, the pressure of a thing happening, markets react unfavorably. What has happened many times in the past, and Alex pointed this out the other day, it was yesterday morning stream, Friday morning, I can't remember. Was it this morning? Mind is just gone. Is that very quickly that sentiment can change based on a tweet, and all of a sudden now, like we're right back up to where we were as if that event didn't happen at all. So anything's possible, but we're just in a moment of, hey, risk. There is another element of risk across the markets right now, and it's not a time to get aggressive. That's what I'm trying to say. All right, ETH. I don't know. ETH lose this. What's this here? Lose 3150, 3150, and we most likely, at a minimum, are going to see this red box here. Let's call this 2950 to 27. 2800. Yeah, let's go that route. All right. Let me draw a squiggle here. Gotta draw a squiggle. Can't not do this. So let's say, what would really? No, this and then this. That would be no. They wouldn't do that. They wouldn't do that. Let's start with this, because I do think we're going to take out, at least at a minimum, these lows here. One more move up here, and then that's it. Yeah. Okay. Sol. Oh, that's weird. Look at that perfect box here. See, Sol moved up higher than ETH did relative to where price was trading back end of last year. This section here of these highs, I know there was a significant amount of traders, the bigger traders that is, were trying to short Sol up here because of this gap, this breakdown right here. And where's my fair value, Gary gap here? This is 148, and wow, I just realized that tapped into it perfectly. So everyone's down here when we're just grinding sideways after this significant breakdown from October to November. This area was a target for shorts, and it would take a lot of patience, especially during this move, and then this grind down, this slow staircase down, left this area exposed. Now, there was one move up here that did take out these highs, which, arguably could have been the move that most were waiting for, but I still think this is why I'm calling this out, because this move up here with Sol tapped directly into that fair value gap, like straight in the middle. This was a beautiful short opportunity. If anyone took it, congratulations. And Sol, to me, has been the weakest of the bunch. Sol's weaker than other markets, but also stronger than other markets. When we're going down, Sol's the bigger mover. When we're going up, Sol is also the bigger mover. So I have Sol close to my heart. I will use Sol over any other blockchain. To me, that shows, we can look at it multiple ways, but it shows there's participation. Not maybe the best participation that we want or the right participation, but at the same time, it's moving. I do believe we see Sol below $100 this year at some point. And at that point, I think it's the time that if you're someone who is interested in crypto or wants more exposure to crypto, that's a time to absolutely pay attention. I could argue that if we really get that pullback on Bitcoin, we could see Sol down below $75, $60. But we'll cross that bridge when we get there, because like I said earlier, right now we're only focused on what we can see in the week, 2 weeks out, based on the variables that are currently in play. That is not the crypto market, right? Our fundamental factors, our headlines, our trade, tariff policy, all those good things. Yeah. Okay. Did the big markets. Let's go to chat here real quick and pull some tickers up, and then we will call it a night, because I'm really tired and I'm tired of listening to myself talk. All right. What do we got here? We got home. What's home, dude? Yo. All right. I take back my comment, Magic Green, because I was saying most of the crypto charts look the same. This doesn't. What is this? What are you? I don't know what this is. I really, really like this here. This. Wow. This breaks. So 2 cents key level, right? We got this move up. This is where we rock it. I'm going to put a little support here. Boom. Support again here. This is like arguably my favorite trade setup. Now, when I say that, my favorite trade setup that I haven't seen in 2 years, one day we'll start seeing again soon, but not anytime soon. Let's see here. Where is my... Here we go. All right. So rocket, pullback, bounce, support. This is November. This is around Thanksgiving. Move up. No, I take that back. The week before Thanksgiving, at Thanksgiving, peaked here. And if I draw a line here, here's a downtrend. So since the highs up here in August 2025, we've been in a downtrend. What is a downtrend, Doug? It's where the price is going down. Like the price is going to the bottom right-hand corner of the screen. We have been doing that and respecting that downtrend until January 1st. This move down here, this big red candle, took out all the lows here, immediately bounced. Look at these 3 candles. Look at the body of these candles. This is like textbook. These are... Wow. So this checks all the boxes for me of, where I would have traded this is, it is a break strength. Strength is number 1. I'm going to write these on the chart. You know what? We got some videos to sit here. 1. Demonstration of strength. I'll make it bigger in a moment. Don't worry. Don't worry. Let's do yellow. Demonstration of strength. I don't know if that's spelled right. I believe it is. Wasn't the best speller. That is here, right? Boom. We like the strong candles here. Great. Okay. Number 2, breaking a downtrend. Macro downtrend. We'll make this, let's make this different color. Let's go with, let's do blue. Make blue, we'll do some dots. All right, there we go. Need a little bit darker. Need it to be more distinct. Why are you disconnecting me? Why are we doing this? Trading View's been doing weird things tonight. I don't know what's going on. I hope I'm not locked out of my TikTok account, by the way, as I'm doing this, because I was very annoyed. All right, we're doing solid blue. Solid blue, breaking a downtrend, macro downtrend here, because every other time, rejection, we talked about earlier. So that's 2. And number 3. Number 3, flipping a key level from resistance to support. Okay. So all 3 boxes here would have been checked for me if I was watching this market. And this is the type of, like, this is when you know, like, you will know when crypto is back, because we will have these types of setups everywhere. Very clear reversals. And these are ones where you, and by the way, I'm only diving into this chart because it's a nice chart. I'm not implying that you should go buy this right now. I'm just saying it is a nice chart. This is the time you should have bought down here if we were paying attention to it. I'll talk about where the price is in a moment, but it's just that these are 12-hour candles. Would have had days. It's like 3-4 days to find an entry here. So I know it's very easy to get sucked into the low time frame charts, and like I still very much enjoy looking at, you know, a 15-minute chart, 5-minute chart, a 5-second chart. Yes, I did say that. Because it's just, you're just seeing price and data evolve across the canvas is it's great. So I like charts. But you don't have to do that. That's where you lose money. Just focus on the higher time frames, especially for someone new trying to learn how to read charts. Just start higher the better. Weekly charts, 3-day charts, 12-hour chart used to be my favorite time frame. Now 8 hours is. But yeah, but this really, really nice chart. So we did a deep dive here on home. I want to leave this. Let me make sure I remember to check this later. Let's look at where the price is right now, though. You know what? I'm just gonna we'll just leave it there. We'll just leave it. So where price is right now, my guy, Magic Green. We were at resistance. We were at another pretty important level. I wouldn't be shocked if you see this. So I think it's at some point. I gotta get rid of these now. We're too bad. They're going away. Hide. Delete. I would imagine that we see a higher low here somewhere, like this pullback, like that. Something like that. Just not drawn for you tonight. I'm not feeling the squiggle. Just not feeling it. Because of my freaking. All right, it's going here. There we go. Also, I'll mute myself here. Higher low, somewhere down here. If you continue to see this grinding up, if it does do this, there is another scenario you get something like this, but like I will cross that bridge when we get there. This just, where's RSI here? This thing's strong. If you have a good fundamental case for this one, I would just hold, for being honest. For someone who's not in this, and I'm definitely gonna be paying attention to this chart now, you're gonna be looking for a pullback into below 0.25. Yeah, that's that. All right. What else we got here? ETH, Sol, DeFi, any other tickers? We're at top of the hour here, and I may jump here because I don't want to keep anyone longer than we have to, and I'm tired. I'm just really tired, if I'm being honest. Sky. All right. Dude, you're picking some good ones here, man. What is this? Okay, hold on here. All right, no, this is I gotta. By the way, I can't wait. There's gonna be a point in the future when when markets start getting really good again. I'm trying to figure out with Will how we could do this, but I want to give people some type of incentive to find us good charts. Like right now, Magic Green, I want to say, yo, these are fantastic charts. I wouldn't have seen these charts unless you didn't request them. No, we know we're gonna get the folks who shout out, "Hey, go draw Cardano." Like, want to see Cardano? We always buy Cardano. Like, get those. But I want the markets that are just like, hey, they're ready to move. Yeah. So right now, at resistance, could see this. There is a real possibility of that. I would say. How big is this market? Do you know how big this is offhand? Like the market cap? Yeah, this looks kind of the most. I think that is in the cards. So if you're not in this, I would be a bidder 5 cents to 4.5 cents. If we see a big move up here and start going sideways, then we'd look for an entry here. But where it is right now, I can't justify doing anything because it's at resistance. So it is got to be cautious here. But good looking chart. Like saving this one too. Any others? Any others before I jump here? Cool. All right. I'm going to circle back to Bitcoin. I hate that I just used the word circle back. Oh, God, it's the worst. I'm not at work right now. I'm not at work. All right. Bitcoin kind of looks like a. We need some art here, maybe. We need an art contest here. Because I'm seeing. What do we got here? Don't love this. This was gross. Tomorrow we got to find out. I can't really. We need to wait till tomorrow morning. So everyone needs to get sleep tonight. It's gonna be a long week. Not things could happen overnight, but at this point, if you didn't already catch this move, don't worry about it. We're trying to figure out where this next bounces or if we're going to break down, which I believe will be clear in the next 24 hours, 24 to 36 hours, but there's no rush to jump in here. So yeah, so I will be on my stream in the morning at 7:30 Eastern, again every day. And then I will head right over to the Rise Up morning show with the whole group. And I don't have it in front of me, but I would encourage you to go check out socials because there's a really nice graphic now that shows the whole week on every day, who the guests are, all the different shows, and it just keeps getting more stacked. And it's nice because I don't have time to attend all the ones, especially in the morning. I'm good, at Rise Up after hours, after dark. But there are other, mixing and matching different shows now. Super exciting for me because I can watch things in passing because we're always on the move. I can jump on the TikTok wherever I am and I see the gang up there doing their thing, which is why I'm super happy to be here with the group. So I thank everyone for stopping by. I hope you have a good night. Get some sleep. We'll be right at it first thing in the morning tomorrow, 7:30 a.m. Eastern, and then again 8 o'clock with the Rise Up Morning Show. So just a chart guy. I ask you to be kind and be curious and have a good night. Take care, everybody. Peace.